Evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have some very important people here today. We have the chairman of Southampton and Sport Republic, Henrik Kraft, the CEO of Saints, Martin Semmens, managing director, Toby Steele, and the CEO of Sport Republic, Rasmus Ankersen, with us. And I've just got a couple of housekeeping details to go through before we start. I know there's always a lot of concern when the club asks for questions to be submitted beforehand. I can assure you that's not to filter out difficult questions, anything like that. These guys will genuinely answer every difficult question you've got here this evening. And to explode another myth, you are going to be asking those questions. We haven't got them written down here or anything. There are going to be a couple of microphones doing the rounds. So please get your toughest questions on your mind right now and ready to grab the microphone and ask these guys directly. The reason we ask for the questions beforehand is basically to group the topics to help us structure the evening. We're going to go into 4 topics. First of all, on the pitch matters, the most important one, transfer business, ownership and the big picture stuff, and then also off the pitch matters. If at the end of the evening there are a couple of minutes free, we can go back over anything that you think has been missed out. But that's basically the way we're going to structure the evening, and it's all going to be filmed and broadcast tomorrow. There are only 2 reasons why it's not being live streamed. First of all, because the FA Youth Cup match out there, that's being live streamed, and that takes away most of the resources and capabilities from the excellent video guys here. Also, because of the way things are going and emotions running high, there might be 1 or 2 words that need to be bleeped before we can release it to the wider world. So again, there's no conspiracy. Everything is going to be released tomorrow. And on that, look, I work in a lot of Premier League clubs, and unfortunately, fans forums like this one are very, very rare these days. It's a real sad fact, especially when things aren't going so well on the pitch. So let's try to keep things friendly while, as I say, making sure you give these guys a proper grilling. So let's get on with it. Before we'll go up until kick-off against Fulham outside, so plenty of time to get lots of questions in. Let's get over to you, the most important people in the room. Grab a microphone, please say your name to start with, and then ask away. Who wants to go first? It's the guy at the back with the microphone. So yeah, please say your name. Ask away.
Name's Jim Hurd. We're led to believe that everybody with any ambition wants to be in the Premier League. How did we end up with Nathan Jones?
Rasmus, do you want to?
Yeah. All right. Thanks very much, and good to see everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. It's important, these events, you have a chance to ask the questions and we can answer as best as we can. So when you try and appoint a new manager, I think we try and go through a process where we first try and understand what are some of the problems we have. I think it's no secret that over the past year we've had some issues keeping clean sheets. We've been poor in set plays, which are key ingredients, especially if you want to stay in a league like the Premier League. And then we do a search. We try and see what are the names available in the market. We interview people, and then we pick the one we think fit the parameters we think can do the job. Our analysis was that Nathan has proven that he has been able to significantly improve some of these parameters that we thought the team really needed to improve here, and that's why we appointed him. Yeah, for sure.
Where's the microphone? Who wants to go next?
My name is Alan Graham. I've been a football supporter for Saints since 1959, a season ticket holder ever since the stadium opened. So I've seen good times and bad times. I'm not really having a go at you, but what I would like to know, we bought some decent players, and I thank the chairman for that, but the person that's picking the side now can't tell a bad one from a good one. And I'll give you he brought on Theo Walcott. I could run better with a walking stick than him. And he leaves Diallo and Norwegian fella, and leaves Romeo Lavia off the pitch, the Argentinian, and the two new ones. We spent a lot of money, and he says, oh, they're not up to the fitness standard. They've been playing regular for their teams and scoring goals, which we're not. I just don't understand why you're still there, to be honest. Thank you.
Rasmus, why is Nathan
Well,
still here?
I you know, like you, I mean, I think everyone will have from time to time frustrations with the team selection. You know, that is the job of a manager to pick the team he thinks can win the game. I actually think that Nathan has been pretty good at integrating the new players we bought this window. I mean, the two boys that came on at halftime at Brentford, you know, they pretty much arrived the day before, and he still gave them 45 minutes. Carlos Alcaraz came from Argentina, was thrown into Everton the day after he landed on the plane in Heathrow, and then started against Newcastle. So I think he's definitely tried to integrate them, and I'm sure we will see a lot more from them in the games to come.
Hi, my name's Sam. A follow-up to the Brentford game. What are the board's thoughts on his comments after the match on Saturday?
Go on then, Martin.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us particularly enjoyed the interview, you know, whether you be fans, whether you be, you know, staff, or any of us sitting on this table. I think the thing you have to realise is this sort of pressure point of what led him to say that. But I think let's try and clarify what he was doing and what he was trying to say. So what he was trying to say was, I'm frustrated with myself for not following my route forward and my passions and my belief in football, and I've listened a bit too much, you know, to outside influences, and now I'm going to follow my way. So that's what he was trying to say. I don't think he was trying to, you know, divert attention away from himself, but I appreciate it came across like that. So no, absolutely, I don't think any of us would sit here and say we love that interview. Nathan doesn't feel that way either, and I'm sure it irritated and annoyed everybody in this room, but he was only trying to express his passion, I think. Well, I'll answer that. Well, I think he did feel that way at that moment, but have you ever in any moment said something you don't feel when you're a bit angry and a bit, you know, annoyed? Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Let me answer one at a time. Okay, so yeah, absolutely, I understand that. And I'm not saying I feel differently. I wouldn't have wanted him to do it. What I'm saying is that under that kind of pressure, people say stupid things. And what can we do?
Let's just wait for the microphone so that everyone can hear.
Hi, I'm also Sam. I was just wondering, kind of as a follow-up as well, if those words aren't completely rational and they're based off of the emotions from after the game, how can we assume that the other decisions that he makes, whether it be team selection, anything in the in training, any decision making, is also rational and not emotion based? You know, we've seen Bednarek, who's not been close to the likes of Seletar, who's just come in. He's only trained a couple of weeks, and he's already making consistent, you know, starter as a centre back. So how can we assume that those types of decisions aren't also emotion based and not, you know, rational?
Sure. I mean, I came to one of the lounges on Boxing Day, and the last question I got in that lounge was, you know, why have you hired a manager that we don't think is the right person? And what you have to understand is we're doing everything we can to select someone that we believe will make the right decisions. And in the end of the day, that's what we see. So we see him every day, see what he's doing, and we believe that he is out there doing the best he can do every day. No one wants him to fail. No one wants him to make mistakes. And all we can do is, you know, give him everything we can to make those right decisions.
Hi, my name's Josh. 1 win in 7, 1 goal from open play in 7 games. He's alienated fans. He's chucked players under the bus. I've got 2 questions here. Number 1, at what point do you guys say enough is enough, try and save our season? And number 2, if you guys really do defend him, why isn't he here tonight defending himself?
Yeah. I'll answer the first bit and then you take the technical bit. So the way we do fan forums is we do 3 or 4 through the year. We do a big one with huge amount of fans that the football guys come James Ward-Prowse comes, the managers comes, and then we try and expose our ownership group to a small select bunch of fans every year. So this one was planned a long time ago without Nathan. I promise you one thing about Nathan, he's not a hider. You know, he wants to come out and say what he thinks. So that's absolutely clear. I can't actually remember the other question, Rasmus, but do you want to answer? Was it technical? How long do you give him? Okay.
Well, I mean, that's always a question with any Premier League manager. It's a high-pressure environment. Obviously, it's no secret that if you keep losing games, you can't do that forever. At some point, you hit the point where it's enough. But I think our job is, and I appreciate you looking at it from the outside, and you have certain reference points, mainly the games and what is being said after the games. And when we on the inside, we have a lot more reference points. We see what goes on every day. We see the quality of the work that's being carried out, relationship with the players. All these things. Does these things look right? Are we comfortable that there's quality in the day-to-day work that is being carried out that we think over time will lead to better results? Because we are not happy with the results. You're not happy with the results, but we just our job is to try and improve it. And as long as we think that the work that's being carried out by Nathan and the team and the players at the training ground every day is high quality, then we have something to believe in, that this is gonna get better and we can turn it around. Another thing I think is worth taking into consideration here is that we've just been through a transfer window, which we'll probably speak about a bit later, where we've invested a significant amount of money in trying to address some of these weaknesses the team had, especially in terms of creating chances and converting the chances that we create. Because that's the part of the game that is maybe harder to coach, right? Because it's a bit down to individual quality, where lots of defensive things can be coached and can be improved on the training pitch. And obviously Nathan has been part of selecting these players and selling the project to them. And I think it's fair that he gets a chance to show what he can do with the new weapons that he now has.
Is that the question here?
Thank you. I agree. I come here tonight on behalf of 25,000 people who listened to my most recent Twitter space on Sunday, where we have fans come on. It's open forum, open season. We had so many people on and so many comments, so many messages, and not one person disagreed with the fact that Nathan Jones shouldn't be a manager of this club. I also ran a poll at the same time. 5,000 people voted, of your fans, the people you represent. 89% of them don't think he's fit for the job. So what I want to understand is, basically, there's no redeeming qualities as a fan going to the football each week. The results, as I'm sure you agree, are rubbish. The performances are rubbish, and the way he conducts himself to the fans and the media is awful. So the only simple question I have, Rasmus, is obviously he's your boy. You're the one who kind of got him in and have been backing him. Why is he still here? He's the worst statistic manager we've had in 7 Premier League games.
So first of all, one thing you have to understand is that when we buy players, when we sell players, when we hire managers, when we fire managers, it's never a one-man show, right? It is we chip in, we challenge, we discuss, and then we make a decision. And we felt that at the time we appointed Nathan, this was the right decision. We thought that he could improve the deficiencies that we had in the team, and we had for a while, because he's proven he could do that somewhere else. Okay? And I mean, I understand the frustration with the results. We are frustrated with the results, but our job is to look at the work that goes on a day-to-day basis and make a judgment on whether we think that has enough quality to achieve what we want to achieve. We're in a really difficult situation. I understand the frustration, but I promise you, we are working really, really hard 24/7 to try and get out of it. We're not trying to make any sort of decisions that's not in the best interest of the football club. We came here, Sport Republic invested a year ago, and we are here for the long term. We want to build Southampton to become a top 10 Premier League football club again. And yeah, that's what we're working really hard to do. And I appreciate your frustrations, but also I want to explain that we probably have some more reference points, because we are on the inside, that, you know, if you saw them as well, I think you may think different about the situation.
The only thing that fans care about is the position in the league and how many points we're getting. So I appreciate that point, but he has unified the fan base in a way that I've never seen anyone do it before. So if the fan opinion matters that much to the board, then please take it into account, because people are absolutely furious about what they see week in, week out.
I appreciate the, you know, I wouldn't say advice, but I appreciate your frustrations, and I understand, and I can only say that we will always try and make the best decisions for the football club, and that's important to say.
Good evening. Hello, my name's Mark. You talk about reference points. What are those reference points?
Relationship with players, quality of training, process, those sort of things. There's a good clarity of plan, you know what an understanding of what, that we need to do to win the football game on Saturday, and how to integrate the new players. You know, there's a clear sense of direction at the training ground to what that looks like. Whether that will translate into a win on Saturday, time will tell, because you can have the best plan in the world in football, and then the execution doesn't add up when on a game day. But those sort of the things that you look at.
But
sorry. No, I think there's, as I said, there's no question that results haven't been as we all wanted them to be, and we hoped they would be. I think there's been good games as well. There's been elements where we've improved, and there's been elements where we haven't improved. And I would lie to you if I sat now and said that I'm completely happy with the performances. I think that we could have done better. I had hoped to see more improvement, but if we didn't feel that Nathan could improve these things, and we didn't see evidence of that, on a day-to-day basis, then he wouldn't be here.
At what point do we say that enough is enough then, and we move on? And I mean, a sign of a strength of any organisation of individuals to say we've made a mistake and try and rectify that mistake. I mean, we're going to be cut adrift very soon, aren't we?
When we think is, we have no problem admitting mistakes. I've in my past, when I was at Brentford, I made a mistake with a manager and I let him go after 6 games. We bought a club in Turkey under a lot of time pressure this summer. We realized we made a mistake. We let it go. Things got better. We have no problem admitting mistakes, but our job is to look at the things that we need to look at. And I will promise you that it's not the ego won't get in the way of this decision. If we will do what we think is right for the club based on the things we see. We're not perfect. We will make mistakes as well, but I guarantee you there's no one here who's trying to protect something just to protect something, right?
Let's have a couple more questions about on the pitch, and then we'll move on to the transfer business, because we had a lot of questions submitted about this window, the previous window, and we don't want to cover the same ground over and over again. So has anyone got a question about on the pitch before we move on?
Yeah. Sorry. Rasmus, I think you quoted that you interviewed Nathan, and you said that every manager is worth a try, although his Stoke experience, you'd sooner have someone that actually had that experience that can go back and come good again. This is difficult to take. That what we see them 2 guys sat behind you, Ted Bates and Lauren McManamy, but this is what we're saying about. We haven't got the time. This is Premiership. We're not happy to sit and watch us go sleepily to relegation. It's not what these fans deserve at all. We haven't got the time.
Do you want?
I think it was a question, or was it? No. Oh, it's all right. I don't think. I mean, time. As I said, I'm starting to repeat myself a bit here. But listen, if we trying to do what we can to make the right decisions for the club. If we think the right thing is to change the manager, we change the manager. If we think the right thing is to buy a new player, we buy a new player. we'll always do that. So time is not on our side right now, but we will make the best decisions that we think will maximize the probability of staying in the league. You should really apply next time. Yeah.
Let's have a last question in this section over here. Far away.
So, I'm Joe, and I'd just like to give, with the greatest respect to you.
See what you've done there?
You guys have, no one can argue that you guys haven't put your all in. You have invested a lot of money into this club. You have bought us, and you have put your efforts in. You have chosen a manager, and at the moment, I think this fan base, and I'll admit I was Jones in until today, this fan base is united against one person, and I give you the greatest respect in this. Can you clarify for us where the point of no return is? Is losing at Wolves the point of no return for Nathan Jones?
The point of no return is when we believe is the point of no return. I'm not going to say to you this is at this point or that point. You know, we have a belief that we can improve with what we have now, and we'll keep believing in them until we don't believe in it anymore. That's the answer.
We are in danger of going round in circles a little bit. So does anyone have questions about the transfer business from the recent window or even from the summer window?
Hi, I'm Ben. I was just wondering, obviously a good sign of leadership is to reflect on how things have gone. So when you look back to the summer transfer window, what changes, if any, would you make if you could do it all over again?
Sign a striker, yeah. Listen. I think in hindsight, it's a great thing, right? And it's something we've talked a lot about because it's important to reflect on things you could have done different. One of the objectives in the summer was to try and get some top young players into the team because I think we feel that if Southampton, the Premier League is becoming increasingly competitive, you're up against some really rich people that are spending a lot of money. And I think the way we can get into the top 10 again is by taking a slightly more long-term view than everyone else. Taking a little bit more risk in the short term by buying some really top young players, developing them, and then, you know, when they played enough games, they're ready to really give return on investment in terms of their performances. So that was part of the strategy. But obviously, we also wanted to address some of the issues we had because we didn't end the last season very well. So that was, for example, you know, strengthening, getting a centre back in, getting a centre midfield player in that was a bit more mobile. But I think, you know, when I look back, I think, you know, losing Oriol Romeo would be one where you think, well, okay, he would have been a great guy to have around now. Unfortunately, he really desperately wanted to leave the club and go back to Spain, and he's been a great servant for the football club. And sometimes you got to show these guys some respect as well and listen to what they have to say. When we sold him, he was not even in the team because Romeo Lavia was playing in front of him. So that was the situation at the time. But listen, if we have had him now, I would, you know, if we could get him back now, I would gladly invite him back. Obviously, on the top end of the pitch with goals is something we struggled with last season as well. I mean, Broja did well unexpectedly a bit because there's a lot of pressure to put on an 18-year-old player, but did very well for 2 or 3 months, and his goals were contributed to keeping us in the league. We would have loved to sign a top striker. We really tried. We were very close at the end, but these guys are expensive and they are hard to find, right? And it's not like playing Football Manager, going up and then we sign him. It's very, very hard to get these deals over the line. And we tried, and we unfortunately couldn't get it over the line in the end. And then we decided to go with what we had. So I think in hindsight, that was probably the 2 things that we would have done differently.
Yeah, hi. My question is to all of you, really. But we talk about the Southampton way. And can I just say to you all that I follow my club all over the country, and I'm proud to be a Southampton Football Club supporter. But what I heard after the game at Brentford was embarrassing. To have Jan Bednarek in our team after what he said to us when he left is embarrassing. And I'm sure that you can agree that the performances on the pitch are also embarrassing. We all, as supporters, have to go to work on a Monday after watching some of that and listening to what's said by people who represent our club. This is our club. This is a supporters' club. And it's not often that I've said that it's embarrassing being a fan at the moment, but it really is, because we all have to listen to this, read it on social media. And I think you should all stand up and take some responsibility, because Nathan Jones is not good enough, and he is not what you would consider to be the Southampton way.
Very well said, but it is a lot of the topics we've covered already. Has anyone got anything to add that we've not said already? Should we have another question about the transfer strategy?
So in terms of the summer and early January signings, they haven't improved results. In fact, we've regressed. So was the transfer strategy wrong, or are they being poorly managed?
I can go. Yeah. So I don't think it was wrong. I think Southampton's DNA is to fulfill potential. It is to have young players, give them opportunity. If you are good enough here, you are old enough, right? And give them opportunity to play. This is the DNA. If you looked at the squad, it was actually becoming a little bit of an aging squad, and we felt it needs refreshing with some top young players that we went out and invested in. So I think that part of the strategy has been successful. As I said before, I mean, there's probably a few things with regards to balancing the squad that could have been, in hindsight, been done differently. And if we had a chance, we would do it differently now. But every signing is a prediction you make, right? And it's hard to get 100% right. But I think we've got quite a lot of them right in terms of players that are exciting to watch and who can get better and who fits the DNA of this football club. I think we go a bit in circles here with that question, because it leads back to some of the things I've already said. Yeah, I don't think they're being poorly managed. I don't think they are.
We've asked a lot of questions about the manager.
There's lots of variables that goes into the performance of a football team, right? And I think we came from a place last season where we, didn't perform well in the last 15 games. We're probably the worst team in the league. There's a lot of things that has to happen over. Well, it's a league where everyone gets better all the time, and there's a huge amount of investment going into every team. So it's a very, very competitive league, and we have to try and compete our way. We try and do it, with the players that we buy and our investment strategy. The whole idea behind Sport Republic is to try and build a system where we can try and get our hands on some of these top talents earlier when they're less expensive, and then move them through to the Premier League. This will take a few years to build, but this is our strategy. And I think in a super hard league with lots of money, we need to find our own way of competing, and this is what we try to do.
Well, I think that maybe leads us on nicely to the next subject, which is ownership and the big picture for the club this season, next season, and the future. So has anyone got any questions about the big picture?
Gentleman earlier, I'm James, by the way. A gentleman earlier mentioned about the most important thing is points and where we are in the league. I actually completely disagree with that. I think there's a lot more to Southampton Football Club than just where we are in the league. We've had managers in the past that we haven't liked that have done better than some of the managers that we have liked. And we're spending a lot of money on young players, which I actually mentioned in the last fans forum, I actually liked the transfer window we had. I liked some of the transfers we bought. Players like Lavia are world class. Shame he can't be on the pitch. Shame he was rested for Newcastle, for example, when he's one of our best players. But the problem we've got is Southampton Football Club has been built on academy players and players coming through. You could walk around this stadium and see so many of them. At the moment, they're not getting a chance. And for me, there's so much that goes into being Southampton Football Club. Having a manager that we like, that we believe in, is obviously one of them, but also having players coming through the academy system. We're going to go out there in a minute and see some really good under-18 players. And my big thing is we're blocking the pathway at the moment for those players coming through by signing so many, often quite dross players on ridiculous money when we could be giving the young players a chance.
So we don't sign players on ridiculous money, first of all. I disagree with you because I don't think they're blocking the pathway for these guys. We have a really talented group of players coming through now, which is the ones you will see out there today. But they're under 18 players, okay? And they're not quite ready to play in the first team. And we have a bit of a gap now between those players and then the first team. And we have to fill that gap with other top young players, which is why we went out and we invested. But rest assured, I mean, there will be a pathway for these guys. It is a very big ambition for us to have a top academy and to create a pathway for these players so they get an opportunity to play. And we have a really group of players that are coming through in not just a few years, but they're not quite ready yet. But when they're ready, there will be a pathway.
Henrik, do you want to add anything about the vision and that pathway?
No, I mean, I think, well, first of all, very nice to meet you all, and thanks for turning up. I know that you're the most loyal and dedicated fans, and so really appreciate you being here and hearing all of your feedback directly is very valuable to us. So thank you for that. I think, as Rasmus said, the academy, the pathway, this is incredibly important to us. It's a key part of the sort of investment thesis for us, but it's a key part of what Southampton is, and it's what it's been for a long time in terms of a place where some of the most exciting young players come through, and where they get a real chance to get Premier League experience ahead of maybe a lot of the other clubs out there. And it's obviously what enabled us to attract players like Tino Livramento a couple of seasons ago, and it's also what's enabled us to bring players like Romeo Lavia to the club, because we were able to give him a chance to play at the highest level. So, and I've heard some questions about do we even believe in the academy and so on. The academy is absolutely crucial to the future of the club, and we want to be able to produce as many of our own talents as possible. I think that's a key way to be competitive long term. And as Rasmus says, we have a fantastic crop of players coming through right now. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great academy players in that sort of 19 to 22-year-old group. I mean, that's just a fact. I don't think they're there at the moment, and we had to fill in for those. So, we're trying to fill those in, and we're very much looking forward to the next group coming through.
Who else has got a question about vision and strategy?
Hi, I'm Jude. So I support both the men and the women, both home and away. And my question is, the women's team, at the moment with the precarious position of the men's team, if, and I really hope we don't, because you are going to save us and we're going to be fine and everything's going to be rosy and we're going to stay in the Premier League. But considering what happened last time, the team went down, the club got away with the women's team, and that was it. We have a really successful women's team, and I just want to know, first of all, because I don't want to hear it just from my mum, that you guys have got money set aside for them, and they're going to be fine if the worst happens. But equally, I would like to start seeing a bit more media presence. You have Twitter feed, you have an Instagram. You don't use it, and you're not getting the women out there, and they deserve to be out there. They deserve to be followed. And I don't feel like this club does enough to support them and put them to promote them. And I would like to see more, please, because they deserve it. They're fabulous.
Okay, excuse me. Thanks for the question and for your passion for the women's team. We also love that team. It's fantastic to watch them winning. So let me answer the first bit, and then Toby might want to get a bit more involved in the last bit because he's very passionate about that area. So 100% we're committed to it. We can make that commitment. Obviously, Marianne and that group are also got the same concerns you've got. I've sat with them personally and told them that we will stick by their programme, whatever happens. We're massively passionate about it. I've personally gone on the FA Premier League board to take the women's game forward. It's just a huge part of our life, and we are 100% committed to it. And it's not about a financial commitment, it's about a long-term commitment, although it takes finance. On the topic of finance, I think we really believe the women's game is coming towards sustainability. Well, it will get there. It's a question whether it's 6 months or 2 years, but it's going there. So if it isn't, we will fund it, but we hope that it will get to a sustainable place soon anyway, and therefore it will live its own life regardless of where we are. So it's one thing we can be definite about. We will commit to that team. It's an amazing team. I think the investment we've made there is beyond what we should have done probably in the early days, and that's put us in an amazing platform. It's just a joyous part of our football club, and thanks for the support. I don't know, Toby, because you really lead that bit.
Happy, and I reiterate what Martin says. Thank you for that support. I think in terms of the social media following and how we promote that, I think if you compared it to last season, we have done a lot more. But yes, I'm sure we can always do more. We can in every facet. We've employed people specifically in the media team just for the women's and girls, which is another step we took this year when the team went full time. But take your comments on board, and we'll pass those back. And we're trying to do as much as we possibly can with the resource that we've got. Sure, I'll take that on board.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, from an investment point of view, having now got quite deep into this topic across the leagues, we are way, way off the scale from investment in medical science. And I had a board meeting today with the women's and girls game, and we heard a story about a top Premier League team, women's team. A lady did an ACL knee injury and was thrown out and told to go to the NHS, right? So we make that commitment, we invest in it, we look after the girls in the same way. It's something we're, on a day where we're not so proud of everything, we're unbelievably proud of, and we will continue that investment. We can always do better with supporters or social media, but I can only promise you that the commitment to that is complete. Thank you for the question.
Next question on strategy and ownership, please.
Hi, good evening. It kind of goes back to transfer, but kind of strategy as well. I think loads of people in this room will agree with me. I went on my lunch break last week, and I saw the youth squad released for their game last Friday. Lovely to see, brilliant. Love the youth squad, absolutely. But when we are fighting to stay in the Premier League, which I would argue is vision and strategy, we want to stay in the Premier League. Why are two of the players who we've just brought in, spent great money on, which really, really happy with your signings, absolutely. Why are they both on the youth squad when we've got a game against Brentford, a very good Brentford squad as well, I must add? Why are they playing in the youth team, coming off at the 45th minute as well, not even travelling up with the club as well on the next day, and then we, let's face it, got a bit of a battering on Saturday? I don't understand. I don't understand the method behind it. I don't get the Trafford transfer strategy. That's my question, really.
I'll take that one to give you a break, shall I? From talking about football. So understand the question. We have similar questions when we see things like that, but I can explain it. It's all I can do. So the squad's pretty big, which is something we've chosen to do to try and avoid the dreaded issues we face, and therefore those players have got to get minutes. So I can't comment specifically on why one player, would be put in that group or another one. That's not for me to say. But out of those 4 players, one of them is new to the club and needs minutes. One of them is, Armel's coming back from injury and needed the minutes. But in the end of the day, you will see more of that this year because we're not allowed to travel with the full squad. So if everybody is fit, some of them will play in the B team. It's not the youth squad, it's the B team. It's supposed to be there for that. I totally understand your question about an individual you might prefer to be in the first team. I respect that question completely, but you will see more of that because we believe they've got to have minutes. They should have had minutes on Saturday. I understand the question, but you will see that for certain people. And he came on at half-time because he's got an injury, just so you know.
Hi, my question with strategy is, what's the strategy when we get relegated? Because unless you sack Nathan Jones, we're going down.
Yeah, again, I'll take that quickly. I didn't hear the last bit, but I heard the first bit, so I'll answer that. So again, we went on the BBC recently, and I said something I wholeheartedly believe, which is if the worst happens, we are, from an infrastructure point of view, the best we could possibly be, or certainly since I've been here. So we all can take criticism. Our new owners can take criticism for strategy, for decision making, but not for investment. The investment is there at an amazing level compared to what we've had in the past, and it will stay there if the worst happens. So I can give 100% reassurance on that. We're in a fantastic financial position. If it happens, it still will be very, very painful, and nobody wants it. So I can only really reassure you that we will do everything we can to make it as smooth if it happens. I didn't hear the second bit of the question, so I can't answer that bit.
I just said that. All I said was, unless you sack Nathan Jones, that is what you're going to need to do.
I think I did hear it. Yeah, I just spotted it. Hang on, I spotted it. Yeah, so I understand the question, and obviously at the moment we're dealing with the week ahead, but I can only give you reassurance that if the worst happens, that will be, I've had reassurance from the owners around me that they will back us to the end of the earth.
Maybe I can confirm that. Look, obviously we really, really, really don't want to get relegated. And we've invested a lot of money to try and help the team get stronger to avoid that. But look, I think we're all ultimately in the same boat here. We all want the same thing, right? We all want a successful, strong Southampton team out on the pitch, winning points, winning games in the Premier League. We definitely want that, and we're working tirelessly to figure out how to maximise the probability of that happening. God forbid, that doesn't happen. And we end up getting relegated. We're fully committed to the club. This is a long-term investment for all of us involved. We really love the club. We believe in it, and we'll do everything we can to come back as quickly as possible and come back stronger. And I think that's all we can say now.
Good evening. My name's Liam. In terms of strategy, just to go back to the point you made earlier on about the structure for this evening, the call out for us to attend this evening came out on Thursday. The results and then the comments from Nathan come out on Saturday, and therefore we can't necessarily want to stick to the structure which you're trying to ask us to stick to. So I think it's just to make that point very clear to the four people and yourself is trying to chair this as best as possible this evening. So you have to understand the fans' frustration of the comments by Nathan, a person who should be media trained, and understand that when talking to national press, those comments will then be picked up by fans who invest an awful lot of time, money and commitment to follow this club across the country. So many thousands went to Newcastle on Tuesday in a semi-final of a cup to see quite a disappointing display. It's not my question. But just to reissue that if we are selling ourselves as one city, one club, built on fans, and we march on together, how can you not then, therefore, within the strategy, take on the thoughts and feelings and opinions of the fans who invest so much into it? I understand that from a sporting and football point of view, you've got your experience and did extremely well at Brentford, Rasmus, and enjoyed the hospitality at Brentford on Saturday, apparently, as we can see from the photos. But the question is, the fans forums are great and allow opinions to be said. What then happens with what is said during the fans forum? How much of that is then taken on board and put into the strategy? As somebody who's a trustee and member of boards and charities, etc., we know that when we have advisory boards, we action that and we take it back because they are heavily invested. These fans heavily invest and have done. We've got a gentleman at the back since 1959. That's a long period of time to invest in a club. What happens next with what's said tonight, and how do we see that come into fruition as we move forward if we are one club, one city?
Yeah, very, very good question and long, so I'll try and answer the different bits. So I'll tackle the first bit and then maybe we can all come on and talk about the last bit. So the first bit I think is just for total and open clarity. We understand what you feel about the comments Nathan said. We have our feelings about it too. I think you have to respect that it's a private relationship and we're not going to sit here and say everything that's been said behind the scenes. We understand it, we get it, and everyone feels the same. We're not going to say I sat there and enjoyed it either. I don't think, not that it matters that it was, specifically designed to create mayhem, and I think he respects that and knows that. So I think when there are things like that happening, you have to see that, of course, we are dealing with it, but we're not going to sit here and open up on every, But the second bit I think is a more important question, which is, we take it seriously. So I remember when I first got here, we wrote the Southampton way strategy, and I think how far I go over this story, but it was on a wall in a meeting room, and I sort of did the first draft, and we got people in from the club and said, "What do you think?" And the one person came in, I think was the head of sales at that time, and came in and said, "Well, where's the fans? Doesn't say the fans anywhere on this strategy." And we're like, "Oh yeah, okay." So almost everything we do now has the fans and the community right at the middle of it. So it's unbelievably serious for us. But the counter argument to that is, and again, I've said in every time we've done anything, I've not found anyone in football who's trying to make a mistake. No one. And I know some people in football, they're not the best people. Even they're trying to get it right. So there's nobody sitting up here thinking, I really want to make a mess of this, right? So they're trying their best to make the decisions, and your influences and your voice is unbelievably important to that, and you must keep doing it. And I have to say, in an unbelievably respectful way. So, you credit our chair, but there's been no disrespect in this room. There's been no nonsense and rudeness. It's just been really clear and concise, and we're listening. And I think that's unbelievably important to everyone that we can do that. It's not a shouting match. It's been really crystal clear, and we listen. I get that. I totally get it. And we all want the same thing, right? So we've heard you. This is the best way to do it, because we are listening and we can hear it. And then you have to trust that we'll make the right decision at the right moment. There's always something going on in the background that we can't show you everything. We can't show you every detail of what's going on. We show you the most we can, and I think within Premier League clubs we're pretty open. But we have to look at what we've got and make the right decision at the right time, which we'll do. That's all I can do. I can't really do much more than that.
I just want to add, this is obviously the first fan forum that we've had the opportunity to participate in, so it's a real eye-opener to see you guys and to hear the way you communicate your feelings and your feedback to us, and it's incredibly important and it's incredibly useful. So we're absolutely going to be reflecting, on everything that's being said, and try and address as much as we possibly can. I actually, at the Newcastle match, I met with the chairman of our advisory group, and I actually suggested that maybe I come along to the next meeting and actually hear a little bit more directly as well, because I think that's a connection that we can get even closer, and I think with the objective to try and have some more tangible actions and action plans that we can actually deliver on, and so that you can also see that we're listening and we're trying to make a difference.
Just a quick, sorry to hog the mic, but just a quick follow-up on that. I know the supporter liaison officer is a recently appointed position, and there's also the fact that the Premier League are kind of insisting on that thing to be in place. One of the key things from the very first half of the season was a blame culture on fans in the the season ticket holders, primarily in Itchen North and also in the Northern Stand. But one of the things that we're seeing time and time again is that people attending that aren't Southampton fans are getting into those sections. I know that from the Newcastle first leg, you had to be registered by a certain point, and there was also, for the Chelsea game last season, when they couldn't buy tickets, they weren't allowed to buy tickets on our end. Is more of that being implemented, and when can we see, moving forward, the section now, i.e. reopening, but also maybe even an apology to fans? Because the Newcastle game, there was a fight in the Kingsland between a Newcastle fan and somebody else, and we saw it. Those of us that were standing in the Northern saw that happen, and that is really disappointing for us to see, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, completely understand the frustration, and was talked about at the first forum at the beginning of the season. So, firstly, on block one, that we're hoping to reopen that at the Spurs game on the 18th of March. So we've put a request into the safety advisory group, and maybe we could get 5-10 minutes after and talk more about the reasons why we shut block 1, which was absolutely for safety issues. I know there's people thinking we did it just to annoy fans. Absolutely not the case. But we've put an application in to have that reopened, so season ticket holders to go back in there exactly as we had it at the beginning of the season. So hopefully that will appease that group of fans. In terms of away fans in home areas, it is an ongoing problem, and the measures that we've taken, so you're right, Newcastle, we didn't sell any tickets to anybody that wasn't registered. For the Villa game, as soon as the Villa sold out their away allocation, home tickets only on sale to people who had registered. Now, that, we hope, makes it better in the stadium, but of course the flip to that is people that want to come to the game that have never been before can't. So that can't be a long-term plan for us. So the team try their absolute hardest to identify whether somebody's an away fan. Simple question when someone picks up is saying, do you want to book in the home or away end? And if someone says, catch them out, says away, okay, we don't sell to them. But I think the other thing that causes the most frustration is there are fans that do get through that process. We know that people buy tickets on behalf of other people, and we know that season ticket holders give their tickets to other people. And that's the bit that we just can't control. We can say as many times as we want, please don't do that, and what the implications are. But I think the biggest frustration is probably the inconsistency of stewarding. So what we're doing in that regard is really trying to build the pool of our own stewards. So after COVID, the number of our own stewards just dropped away completely. So we've just recruited 130 new stewards. We want by the end of the season to have 300 of our own, so pretty much all our own stewards, so very few agency staff, which means the standards and the processes that we tell them and how we ask them to deal with away fans in home areas is more consistent, because we're not seeing that consistency. And it's a huge frustration for us. We're as equally disappointed when fans are having to take matters into their own hands. But yeah, maybe we go 5 minutes after and I can just explain in a bit more detail, particularly around Block 1 and the safety issues that we face. Noted. Thank you.
Anyone else got questions about off-the-pitch issues, please? Where's our microphone?
Back to first team. Should Nathan Jones be sacked? Do you have?
I think we might have had that one.
Can I finish, please? Should Nathan Jones be sacked? Do you have candidates ready, and do you have a strategy to replace him properly this time? And is the money there to pay him out and to go get managers who are currently in jobs, if needs be?
I think you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself there.
Oh, I just want to know.
But so I think we answered the question that we will back any manager we have until we don't believe he can improve the team. And if that time comes, obviously we will do our work behind the scenes to be ready for that.
Time's ticking away quickly. Who's got another question?
Hello, I'm Martin Borman. It's really a question on leadership. And I just wanted to draw some parallels with Wrexham Football Club, who've had 2 Hollywood superstars come in, invested a lot of money, ambitions to get in the Premier League. But their commitment beyond the football pitch is incredible, with their engagement with the fans, their engagement with the community. I mean, when Wrexham played Eastleigh down at Silver Lake a few weeks ago, one of the Hollywood guys was there and he was having selfies taken with the fans, and they get out and they press the flesh and people know who they are. I can't imagine there is a person in Wrexham that doesn't know who those 2 guys are. And with all the work you do, you're invisible in Southampton. Yeah, I'm be honest. I know you're from your speaking presentations, but apart from that, we don't see you, we don't hear from you. Is that something you can address? Can you get a higher profile in the community? Because at the moment, you have a very toxic fan base. And I think I'm amazed how polite everyone's been, because if you go on Twitter, yeah, it is toxic. So what can you do to get a better presence in this city and with the fans and with the community?
Well, I think it's a good point, by the way, you're making, and I think our philosophy from Sport Republic point of view, that we sort of wanted to make our actions speak louder than words. We want to show you with our actions and our investments that we were really behind the club and want to take it forward. But I think we also acknowledge in hindsight that we should have communicated more and better earlier than we've done. And this is something we're going to learn from and do better in the future.
We probably only have time for one or two more questions. So who hasn't asked a question yet and who would like to?
Hi, I'm Louise. We have a really big game on Saturday. With such division in the ranks, how do you make that 12th man count and make sure everybody is on board and makes it count on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, isn't it? But I think at the end of the day, all we can do is pull together and do the best thing we can. So all of us have our role to play. We'll do everything we can behind the scenes to make the team win. I know you guys will do everything you can. You know, that's what we've got to do. I mean, I know the obvious answer you're looking for, but in the end of the day, all we can do is pull together and try and do the best we can on Saturday to get across the line. And our view is if we can get across the line once, then another one comes. So it's getting that first one, I think.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Support representation and things like this.
So
We don't want
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we understand that.
You're on the list now.
And I think we have got to get close. And someone mentioned the Premier League want you to have a shadow group of fans, and I think with Saints Voice we feel we've done some of that. We'd like to go a bit further and engage more often. Henrik's going to come and
to come to the next meeting.
I think we can do more. And like I say, I know someone said positively and negatively there that everyone's been very respectful in the room, but it's really encouraging for us how strong the feedback's been, but done in such an incredibly cool way. I think we just got to keep doing it and keep listening. And I wouldn't say reserved, but I think just being honest, it's easier to. I think we'll get more from it because you know if it's not done in a certain way, it's harder, isn't it? It feels real, and that's important, I think.
My question is a real simple one. Exactly how important are we? Because we follow you the length and breadth of the country. We invest thousands of pounds a year, and we get at the end of the game from players.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall into that trap again for anybody who was at the last one, but yeah, so completely important. Absolutely not. I mean, 100% not.
A very integral part of this club.
Yeah, 100% not. I hope this doesn't sound insincere, but I think everybody in this football club understands there is no club without fans. There's just no point to it. We had the experience with COVID where we were playing games and Ralph absolutely hated every day of it because what's the point of it? And so, we understand more than anything, I promise you, that it's a community. And it's not, I don't think it's just the fans, I think it's also the city. I think you have a responsibility in the city, to make a difference because you can make a difference. And therefore it does hurt when you're making a difference in the wrong direction. It's very painful. But I think the fans are incredibly important. Sorry, say again? Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Okay, I'm starting to get a feeling that you were at the last fans forum and I made a bit of a slip with what I said, so I'm not going to say it again. But yeah, I think. Yeah. 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 Well, I didn't say we forgot about them. I said it wasn't in the writing. It wasn't in the 10 words that we wrote, and it is now. Should be, and that's why I said it. So I think what's important to say is, we are as passionate as you to make the team work. It makes us feel sick if we don't win. The weekend's ruined. We feel all the same things, but it is right. It's from a different perspective because, as you rightly say, we get paid to do it, and it's a career for us as well as a passion. And for you guys, it's a passion, and we respect that. But like I can say, in general, I've met a lot of odd people in football that aren't very good at what they do, but I've never met anyone that doesn't want to win. Not one. So I promise you, everybody wants to win. There's nothing in this for us if we don't win. There is no solution to any problem in a football club that can't be fixed by winning on Saturday. Sponsorship goes up, revenues go up, everybody's happier. My wife talks to me again. Everything gets better if you win. So we're all on the same path. It's just finding a way of doing it together, I think. It's a wider question, which maybe we can have a drink at the bar and I'll answer. But it's a wider question, and I understand what you feel about it. But I don't think we want to go back through the depth of tactics. But I'm happy to do it at the bar with you. But it's only going to get fixed if we stick together and we do it, and we're listening to what you say. I think is the best we can say.
And on that note, I'm afraid we've got to wrap it up because the referee's whistle's about to go outside. So I hope you've got something out of tonight. Thank you all for turning up. This is your club, and everyone really appreciates what you've given here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.